And welcome to the OokTown Podcast live from Stuart's basement somewhere in Fort Collins, Colorado. It is the OokTown Podcast with Stuart Yoshida.
Wow, that was electrifying. Oh, that was your electric, right? Okay, Doug. Thank you, Doug. That was my co-host, Doug Brown, and his ever-changing but ever-consistently changing introduction to the OokTown Podcast. Aloha, patrons and listeners. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown Podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. Got a couple good friends coming back on the show. And right now, I want to introduce a longtime friend of the show, awesome ukulele instrumentalist and steel guitar player. Got Gerald Ross. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hey. Thank you, Stuart. Hi, Doug. How you doing? Here I am today. It's Sunday in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We are in the winter tease season where we get snow. It hangs around for a few hours and melts. And then we get snow and it hangs around for a few hours. So it's a very unsettling kind of feeling. But
Really?
I'm
I'm surprised that it melts.
It does. You know, it's all science, Stuart. You know, when the temperature gets above 32 degrees, look it up. Google it. Really.
No, what I was surprised is that it gets above 32 degrees in Ann Arbor this time of year. So that's
everyone thinks we're Minnesota. We're not Minnesota. We're Michigan. It's different.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
it's good to know. Good to know. Awesome. All right. Well, then our other guest, who hopefully will be joining us at some time, we're hoping to get Mary Agnes Krell. So she might be joining us later on. Mary Agnes is is the director and organizer, one of the many organizers for the GNUF, the Grand Northern Ukulele Festival. And hopefully she'll join us. And we are just so happy to have our longtime friend, Gerald, on the show. We're kind of doing a end of the year wrap up and look back, and boy, yeah, what a year to look back on. I'm sure there's we don't have to tell you about what happened, I don't think, to anyone who's alive at this moment, unless of course you're really young, and this will be like a time capsule that you can hear about all the things that happened in the year 2020, the dumpster fire that was known as the year 2020. Well, let's see. Now that the end is in sight, we're hoping and keeping our fingers crossed and knocking on curly koa. I mean, there's still a long ways to go for sure. So just kind of, to maybe talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. What are we looking forward to once we get through this? And we'll start with you, Gerald.
Well, musically and personally is two different things. Musically, I'm looking forward to doing live gigs again. A musician, a performer needs an audience, and yes, these internet solutions are great. I'm happy these are here because they're keeping us in contact with each other, but it's not the same.
Right.
As going to a multi-day music festival where everyone just hangs out and they eat together and they play together and it's for 2 or 3 days. That's what it's really all about. So that's kind of tough.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been such the biggest thing and the most amazing thing. The biggest thing being that, we just had to lock it down. And
hey, Gerald, I think if you look at it, actually the hokey pokey is what it's all about. So, just to clarify, I don't want any bad information getting out there.
Hokey pokey. Okay.
Hokey pokey. All right, we're gonna have dueling episode titles, I think, here, Doug. You know that you're up against some pretty stiff competition. All right. Oh, I got a text from Mary Agnes joining now. Network issues here. Bummer. Hey, but this is good to know. She reads her DMs on Twitter. That's a plus. Yeah. So, Doug, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I can tell you that since you didn't introduce me in the opening of the show,
Yes, I
I
did.
can. You
Ah, you
you didn't
didn't.
ask me about that. Well, anyway, but I think looking forward, one of the things that the Denver Youth community has done, going back to one of the past podcasts, we talked about Mary Agnes,
Hey, Agnes,
yay!
yes.
We did talk about Mary Agnes,
Anna
but
Rob Collins.
yay!
Hey, twofer. It's a twofer. Go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
Oh, but one of the things that, and actually, it was the show that Mary Agnes was on, where we talked about what we do going forward after the pandemic is kind of tied up. So the Denver U community has always met the third Saturday of the month. We've added the first Saturday of the month, and going forward, that's always going to be an online meeting, so that people that are international friends and people that just can't make it into Denver, people that for health reasons don't want to go out, they'll have at least one get
Yeah.
together a month. And then the other one, the third Saturday of the month, we're going to do live, but then we're going to stream that as well. So so I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out.
Nice. I think that's an awesome thing to look forward to. And Mary Agnes, welcome. Sorry about the network problems, but I am so glad you were able to join us. And I wanted to, since we couldn't get you on the show a little earlier, I will give you the heads up if you want to start looking around for Gnuff trivia. I thought we'd have a Gnuff trivia a section here, so you can kind of quiz us, like, how many people attend the Gnuff, or who is the gentleman rhymer, and all that kind of stuff. Although we all know that one. Oh, and by the way, I want to welcome on the live stream Uwe Holstein. I hope I said that right. And
It's Uva.
Uva.
Because Uva's my buddy.
Are you really? Really? He's
Yes,
from.
indeed.
How do you know Uva?
He is one of the London or the pandemic pluckers that I
Oh,
hang out with a bunch.
yeah, nice. And we got circuits and strings. So aloha. Thank you for joining the live stream. Yeah. So let's if you want to root around a little bit while we do some other stuff. We'll get back to you, Mary Agnes, on the question of what you're looking forward to, but we're going to jump around here. Here's something that I really want to talk about too, because it's been really tough. I mean, I know for myself, for lots of reasons, economically, and just the atmosphere, the physical distancing, all of that. And I want to figure out, though, what am I going to take back with me after all of this? And what I mean by that is, one of the things that I think was something that I hope we'll keep, is that we will keep in touch with those friends that we probably reconnected with just because, I don't know, for whatever reason, we're going like, oh man, I'm locked down. So I start reaching out to my friends that, from college I haven't talked to in 20 years. And I had a video chat with them, because almost now everyone is just used to it. And I really hope I can keep that. So what do you guys think about, what do you want to bring back with you from this experience? So I'm going to start again with Gerald, and we'll go around the horn here.
What do I want to bring back? Well, one thing I am thankful for is during this pandemic that we've actually been able to stay in contact with each other via things like this, internet video and FaceTime. As much as people complain about FaceTime, you do get to talk to your friends who you haven't seen in years, or friends who live miles away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy for that. But what I've realized is that we're only here for a short period of time on this earth, and we make friends, we make acquaintances. It's not hard to pick up the phone and then say, how you doing? And it's not hard, and if you're a little shy about doing that, it's not hard to just text these people.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people that I've texted from the past have responded positively.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy for that. So what do I take from this? So we should try to do this instead of digital. We should try to do it analog. Once everyone is vaccinated, and we get this damn thing out of here. This is not fun at all.
No.
It's not. I shouldn't even use the word fun. This is terrible. So, we need, once this is over, we need to value our friendships and our family, and don't say, oh, I'll call them next week, because that never happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I've, since my family's in Hawaii and I don't get to go back there too often, it's been pretty amazing that we've been keeping in touch much more closely now. And all of a sudden, my mom is going like, oh, when are we going to have a Zoom call? It's like, whoa, Mom, when did you get so technical? And that's great. I love it. So that's really, you're right. We should, I definitely will need to get to visit them. And I think just keeping in touch would be so much better that we have reconnected here. So Doug, what do you think?
Well, first, let me relay that Uva said that this video thing started as a replacement for local jams, but it's turned into something special, and now it stands for itself. And he won't be missing that after that. Because he's made friends all over the world, and I would second that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going, and especially the cool kids lunch at the Denver Ute community. We would have, because the meetings are so go from the second that it starts until the moment that it ends. We don't really get a chance to talk, and so we always had cool kid lunches afterwards, and where you can just kind of sit around and talk about the new ukulele that you got. And so I'm looking forward to that. But certainly, like yesterday, the Pandemic Pluckers did a Murder the Christmas musical, where everybody wrote parody songs, Christmas songs, and sang them, and it was super fun. And we raised, and Uva's got to help me with this. I think we raised all 800 pounds or euros or one of those European currencies, but raised some money for Doctors Without Borders.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was really cool.
That was cool. Wow. So you guys just were able to just donate online, or just said, hey, everyone, go over to the Doctors Without Borders?
They made a special page for us that we just
No way. That's cool.
A lot of charities now they make it really easy for you to give them money. So
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's welcome again. I already introduced you once, but I'm going to introduce you again, Mary Agnes, who is the Grand Northern Ukulele Festival producer and director, and one of many who help organize and do awesome things for Gnuff. So Mary Agnes, welcome again.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me. I love the OokTown podcast.
Awesome. Well, so you can answer both questions at once, but one of them was, what do you want to, what are you going to take with, what are you looking forward to after this is over? What will you take, and what will you take with you as we, hopefully everything, we get through this knothole here with the vaccines?
Well, I think I'll answer that second question first. And I think Gerald was absolutely spot on. That sense of connection with family and friends, and just taking every day as the kind of gift that it is, has certainly become important to me, and is the kind of thing that I hope to hold on to. I have certainly found myself at work stopping to tell senior faculty, administrators, and everyone in between that I appreciate them, that they're seen, and that their work is good, and we're glad they're there. And it has made work a lot nicer and better, despite pandemic. I work at a university.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the director of teaching and learning, and I'm also the director of remote learning in a very large school of media arts and humanities. It has been a difficult year.
Mm. Now
Um,
that's interesting, but you were in charge of the remote learning. So I mean, this was like the bread and butter kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so the university has an area that handles what's called technology enhanced learning. But yeah, in our school, I had to help all of the faculty move all of our teaching, learning, and assessments
Oh
online.
no! So because okay, right, because you were the expert, everyone went to you.
It's not just that, it was part of my job, and also I do have some knowledge.
Yeah.
So I think I might have said this in the earlier podcast, but I spent most of kind of March, April, May, June, July, August doing all of the work while crying, because there were faculty who didn't understand the technology and just couldn't engage.
Oh
There were people
yeah.
who were sick. There were
Mm.
people who
Oh wow.
just, for whatever reason, couldn't participate. So we had to also move their things online for them
Mm.
in
Ah,
a way that would let them, when the autumn semester arrived, still be present, even if
yeah.
it was virtually, and allow them and create a situation where they could connect with their students. And I think we did it. The feedback from students who attended lessons, whether they were face to face and in person or online, has been
Mm.
really positive for the students who've been able to take part. It was still a weird semester,
Mm. Oh,
but
I've heard from other ones, and the same things that you brought up. They're saying, there's a certain segment that just didn't know how or want to move online, and that it was just like we've got no choice now, and so, yeah, that must have been. I thought, oh well, you do the online learning all the time, so this should have been a breeze. But no, it's because everyone was switching over. That was a huge, shift. Oh, wow. Hey, I do want to welcome on the live stream Ca- Carissa Rose. I probably mispronounced that, and if someone else knows how to pronounce that, help me out. Is that so? Anyway, welcome to the live stream. Um, but what do you look forward to doing, Mary Agnes?
this is
Ah,
this is a great question. Um, so as a result of having been the director of education, but also because of the way university sabbaticals work, I have 2 semesters, which is a whole year of sabbatical coming up, beginning in
wow.
July. So
No
yeah,
kidding.
I'm hoping the vaccine
Ah,
takes hold, because my plan is, if it's possible to travel, to try to get to the States, to get to Hawaii, to get to Japan,
nice.
to get to Australia, to see some of these ukulele festival organizers and
Nice.
musicians that I've either only ever met in the context of coming to my festival, or that I haven't had a chance to meet in person yet.
Ah,
So that's my plan. I hope it doesn't have to all be virtual. I'm going to look forward to the possibility that some of it can be face to face.
I think you will be able to do that. Um, they've been talking about it'll be summer before this is really going to be through the knothole, and that sounds about right. So July, that sounds like a perfect timing for you.
That's just the beginning. So hopefully next autumn I will be in Hawaii,
Nice.
bothering Sarah and Craig
Yes.
and everybody else, and then on my way to Tokyo.
I did invite them to this show, and they were busy. There was a live streaming of Jake Shimabukuro last night, I believe it was, and I still have to watch that. So they're busy today too. So those guys are just hopping. Yeah, and if everyone hasn't heard, the longest running ukulele festival in Hawaii is the Honolulu Ukulele Festival. I can't remember what they call it, or the Hawaii Ukulele Festival. Anyway, and that's being handed over to them now, so they're going to be taking that over. That is awesome, and they're one of the pioneers of doing these online festivals. Ooh, which I'm going to digress from the list of topics and ask about the Ganuff online. How did that go?
It was okay. We did a little online mini festival in the kind of late spring, and we just did it kind of over a weekend, really kind of concisely, and
Mm-hmm.
only in Facebook
Ah,
as a
okay.
streaming space. So
Mm.
in that limited context, it did work. And we had some a few things outside of Facebook. We did a kind of music trivia quiz, and there were a few lessons that happened in different spaces.
Yeah.
Um, but it what it taught me was, and I noticed you guys are using this, that if you want to do something online, you really need to get outside of just a single social media. So StreamYard, for example, becomes a really useful tool.
Yeah.
Because audiences, especially if you're starting to think of audiences that aren't my age, I'm 50 now or older, are not in Facebook.
Right.
They're in Twitch, they're in
I know.
all these other spaces. And so it worked. And the reach was actually greater than a normal ukulele festival for us, which was good. And for audience members who at that point in time were just coming out of the first big lockdown, they let us know that they felt like it kind of made them feel connected in a small way.
Yeah.
But I think it was a small way. That's my one concern about these online spaces, is that we do connect with other people, but those connections are smaller. So maybe that's why the Pandemic Pluckers has kept going, but almost every night, it's so persistent. And perhaps that's because you might not get as big of a hit as going down to the local strum or something and sitting in a room with people for an hour. So it was good, but I wish it was bigger. And I hope we end up in a space where we can do more blended or kind of convergent things, where we have in-person interaction and we don't lose the digital interaction. Maybe they kind of augment each other or support each other.
Yes. And I helped organize the technical side of a online webinar, and we used Zoom. And you talk about the smaller group interaction, and that's where Zoom really comes in handy. They have these breakout rooms, and they worked fantastic. And the key there was we made sure there was a moderator in every breakout room, and that was, everyone was like, wow, that was really great. Even though we were remote, it really helped connect us. And but the live streaming part of it, I really like. You're right. I like StreamYard, even though for a while I blamed StreamYard for what was probably my technical problems. But I'm back on StreamYard. I do actually like them because they make it so easy to connect. So word to the wise there. If you're looking for a platform, StreamYard is a pretty good one. Gerald, do you have any thoughts there too?
Well, all of these things are great, to just keep in touch with each other. But the one thing you can't do on these internet video venues is you can't really play with each other. You can't, because of the latency problems. How long does it take for my voice to go over to England there?
I know.
With computer, it could be just a few milliseconds, but still that's enough to throw you off.
Yeah.
So you can't really play, and that's what I really like about going to a festival, a live festival, where there are, you're among 50 people all playing the same song. Right. And there's a power in that. It feels you feel like a member of an orchestra, and the sound is hitting your ears. It's a wonderful thing. The same thing that used to happen back when I was younger, and I used to go to old time music festivals, and you get into the middle of a fiddle jam with 50 fiddle players all playing the same song for a half hour. It's magical. It's not annoying. You get into this mantra kind of state. It's a very good feeling.
I hear you, and it's weird too, because all of a sudden, because of that, I don't know if it's proximity or whatever, because you can see each other, but there's this really weird unspoken messages that seem to flow through the crowd. They'll begin and start at the same time, where someone would do this incredible solo that just fits in. It's not about them showboating, but it's magical, as you mentioned.
And it's also about them showboating.
It is, but there's a good way to showboat, and then there's the Back to the Future where Marty McFly goes off, and that's the other way. Hey, but the people are. Here's what's kind of cool about humans is that we're constantly trying to figure out ways around this, and so one of the ways that choirs have been getting around this is that they have these. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a parking lot choir where they all drive into this parking lot. They're socially distanced, and they have these wireless mics in their cars, and then there's a feedback, of course, and so the conductor's out there playing back the music, and the choir is singing, but they're in real time, so they can do it in real time. I thought that was really really clever of them to think about it. And it's still not the same, because you're still socially distanced, but there is something, at least you're a little closer to getting that interaction, right? And I think that's great that we are able to do that.
Well, so my friend Danny, my sister Danny in London, was saying that it was really hard to join Zoom when she started, and because it's so different, and that you're playing on your own in your room, and that she really misses the band chemistry, just like Gerald was talking about. But once you're used to it, it's better than being completely alone. And I don't think anybody is fighting with the idea that playing live is better than playing on Zoom. But certainly, and she was talking about the real friends that she's made, and except for Uva, because she doesn't like Uva, but because they fight all the time. But I was going to go back really quick, and we actually raised 1,100 euros.
Wow.
And that's metric for dollars, and and both the link and Uva reminded me that link is still live. So if you wanted to donate some money to a great cause, and of course the Doctors Without Borders, they're working hard trying to help people out. So that's always a good plan. But Chris Kennison is watching too. So hi, Chris.
Oh, Chris is on?
Chris.
Really? Hey, Chris. Chris wait, let me look. Oh, there he is. Hey, aloha, Chris. Yeah. So I think we were talking about you, Chris, in the pre-show. So Gerald was questioning where you're living. I said, he's living in Montrose, and he didn't know where that was. So now he does. Western slope of Colorado. So let's see, where am I? Rolling with the changes with the home. Oh, okay. So before I get into this one, Mary Agnes, did you have a chance to do some Gnuff research, or can you do this off the top of your head? Just wanted to give you the warning. We're going to do this. For those of you out there, I asked Mary Agnes to collect some Gnuff trivia, and I'll have her spring it on us to see if we can. She's giving me the thumbs up, so I'm guessing that means good. All right. Here's the thing. I don't know how much it affects ukulele music. I think it does too, though. It's this whole thing about the double-edged sword of home recording and being able to release things on the internet, pretty seamlessly and easily. And that came with some good things, as part of the band Bookum Dano. We didn't have to have a record label to release our CD, and Gerald knows that too. We get to use CD Baby. They do all the distribution for us, both the physical media and the digital.
Wait a minute. I am the featured artist at UKTown Records. Okay. Don't say I don't have a label. Don't say I don't have a contract.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
Yeah,
I'm a professional. Okay, go ahead.
All
As
right.
you were.
And where's your back dock where you load in your? Is that your?
I'm sitting right near the loading dock of UKTown World headquarters right now.
I don't think you want to see his back dock.
Whoa.
It's not that kind of podcast.
Well, my inventory location is right next to the furnace too.
Oh, yeah, you better watch that. You don't want any of those CDs to melt.
Right.
Yeah, and that is part of it too, right? Artists have become distributors themselves, right? A lot of times they'll stock it up. I know Danielle Anderson, aka Dats, Danielle Ate the Sandwich. She does a lot of her own merch distribution. We for Bookum Dano, because we were kind of lazy. We would send in our stock periodically to CD Baby and just let them be the distributor, and that's great. It empowered us. And then on the flip side, it just for whatever reason, it caused this explosion of music onto the web, and a lot of it was, quote, free. Of course, it's never free, right? Those artists put a lot of effort into it. And I don't know if here's something that people should get educated about is the copyright laws. So, and this is where Congress needs to be so much more educated. They passed a law on copyright that mandated that radio pay a certain rate when your songs are played on the air. They forgot that we were in the digital age, and so this new copyright law ignored streaming. So there was no regulation on streaming. And so now we've got Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, and they give micro pennies on the dollar for your plays. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go ahead, Gerald.
Well, the thing about Spotify is there's a good and bad about it, because the thing about Spotify is that someone will say, oh, you have to listen to so-and-so, some musician or some group or some band or anything that you've never heard of. And they go, you have to listen to them. You're just going to love them. And you have a choice then. Do you buy their CD or do you go out to Spotify and just listen to them? You listen to them, and if you listen to them for 600 times in a row, they make 6 cents or something like that. But I don't know. It's very strange, the Spotify world. So because it's right there. It's just like the internet. It's right at your fingertips.
I know, and that's where I would go. It's like, oh, I've never heard of this artist, so I want to give them at least something. So I'll go and listen to them. And YouTube does the same thing. You stream an artist on YouTube, they get some pennies on the, micro pennies on the dollar.
Micro pennies, yeah.
Doug, did you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I'm a big fan of micro pennies because they take up a lot less. They don't jingle as much when you're walking around and trying to sneak up on people. Because I do a lot of sneaking up on people, and but obviously the trying to get paid, that's been a reoccurring theme on the OokTown podcast, and I think it's something that the music industry has been going through for many years now. Since the move to digital, that it's so easy to get the tapes that I used to record off the radio. You had me missing a commercial break, so came in halfway through the song, and and now to be able to get a perfect rendition of it, and then of course on tapes, the sound quality. So I mean, it's one of those things that I don't know how you I think everybody's looking for how you make it equitable to everybody, and I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
Well, people expect everything. People expect everything to be free on the internet.
I know.
That's the problem. It's not just music. When was the last time you bought a recipe book? If you want to cook anything, you just go out and there's a zillion recipes for whatever you want to cook, and they're free.
Right. And especially for artists, and you can consider even chefs artists, right? This is the part that's hard. Mary Agnes, do you know much about what the copyright laws are in England? Are they similar?
They're a headache.
They're a headache. What does that mean? Is better or worse or
no? In some ways they're better. We're a smaller country, right? So a lot of it is managed by what's called the PRSF, which is the Performing Rights Society Foundation, which was the Performing Rights Society, and they have a foundation. And it's a big ASCAP. You have a membership, you get royalties from them, but they are quite approachable. So, for example, during the lockdown, we did a project which hasn't had much visibility until recently because of copyright issues, where we developed a series of virtual variety shows that were sent out to care homes for people that largely had people suffering dementia, or for people who were isolated at home suffering dementia. But because of copyright issues, we couldn't share them on the internet or more widely. It took a long time to unpick the legality in terms of how you could actually publicize those songs, and the reality of these really quite small things in terms of the World Wide Web. And the PRSF really helped us to get the licensing in place, and then to set up a system where if they become famous or viral and they really take off, then we would have to take whatever money we made off of it or monetize it and then give money back for royalties.
Oh, wow. That is
But
complicated.
it was really complicated, and because I teach at a university in again, media arts and humanities, music is one of our schools.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
I'm not for many reasons, both in terms of my own job, but my own respect for the musicians themselves and the songwriters themselves, gonna do anything to try to take away from a meaningful revenue stream. So it's a real challenge, but I do feel thankful that here in the UK, because again, I think we're so small, there are organizations in place. And if you don't know how to find them, you can always go to the Musicians Union. In the UK, the Musicians Union is fantastic in terms of like royalty stuff, but also helping musicians understand how to plan for tours, how to get visas for international performing.
That is so
They're great.
valuable.
Insurance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really, man, that's actually sounds like a useful musicians union. I don't know what it is. I'm going to jump over to Gerald. You've been a lifelong musician, and you've probably run into these. Were you ever part of a musicians union?
Oh yeah, the American Federation of Musicians. I've been a member, and I've been more of a symbolic member because I've paid my dues every year, and I really didn't get much out of it. I guess if I was living in a town like Nashville or Los Angeles or New York City, where maybe the union makes a difference, but being a folk musician, it's just not the same being in the union. So, yeah.
You were probably
I get the monthly magazine.
Yeah, you were probably supporting other musicians, is what you're doing, and that good on you for doing that. Really.
Right.
Hey, Doug, who else we got there in the chat room? Just to welcome them. I think we had a new Rob, someone. I can't pronounce. Doug, you're muted.
So Charissa is my buddy Danny. And yeah. So Uva said that there was a time I loved to have my vinyls, that musicians put a lot of work into having a real piece of art,
Yes.
including cover art. But now they've lost all of that, and they're giving up the fight against streaming. And Ian, so my son has bought a record player at a thrift store, so he's been rocking out to a bunch of Jimmy Buffett because that's what the kids are listening to these days.
Really?
But that's what
Nice.
that's the vinyl that I have is I have every Jimmy Buffett album ever. But Danny said that she still has a lot of vinyl passed down from her parents and from shops, and that she still really likes vinyl. So yeah.
Well, vinyl is definitely making a comeback. They've been resuscitating these plants. I've watched some amazing YouTube videos on how they've modernized some of these vinyl pressing plants and what they're doing, and how I didn't realize this. Did you know how dangerous it was to produce vinyl? Because they would put pressurized steam through these machines to do the pressings. I guess, that's a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. I think they're figuring out how to do it a little more safely, but I didn't realize that. So, well, and I agree. We did lose a lot. I loved, looking at the liner notes. I mean, that was one of the best things. When I got that Return to Forever album, Romantic Warrior, man, I would be just reading every single liner note about what these musicians did and what they're talking about and who the producer was, and yeah, we kind of, I don't know why they kind of do that sometimes with digital liner notes, but not as much. And
it's not that hard to do, I would imagine. It's just sending text,
I don't know why they don't do that. And
well, I think to some degree, for every band around, you can go and watch a 20-minute video on the founding of every, like, if you wanted to have a liner note, you can make a YouTube video and have it be out there instantly. Yeah. So I think there's a degree, once again, of that kind of instant. Well, I don't want to have to read because
really,
we can't have that.
I would still love to do that because I'm missing out. I'm getting back these old catalog things of the group Yes, the progressive rock band, and they had all kinds of.
Yes?
Okay, Doug.
No?
No, who's on first? Uh, yeah. So I guess the question is, for these, the age-old question, hasn't changed much. But for ukulele artists, what's a good way to monetize things, right? So you can continue to do your art. So let's go with Gerald again. He's a seasoned musician.
It's all topsy-turvy now. It used to be you go out and play a gig on a Friday night and a Saturday night, you come home with money in your pocket and you could pay the rent. And well, you could sort of pay the rent, but it's all turned upside down now. And if you want to make some extra money at your performances, you could sell some CDs, and there's an extra number of bucks in your pocket at the end of the month. It's wonderful being a musician and being an artist, but you got to pay your rent. You got to put food on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing, I was watching a documentary, and the rates have actually stayed flat, which means they actually have gone down, because in other words, the same rates they were paying people back in the day are still the same rates, and so, oh my gosh, you can't even pay half the rent. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I don't know if I've told this story on this show before, but when I was in college back between 1972 and 1976, I was in a bluegrass band, and we played every Friday and Saturday night for 2 years straight at an Italian restaurant, which makes total sense in a college town. But
cheap pasta.
The thing is
that it?
We were a 4-piece band, and they paid us $200 a night.
Wow.
And beer, they paid us $200 a night, and beer was 50 cents a glass.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, the bars were able to charge 50 cents a glass for beer, and also from that, be able to pay $200 to the band. So when I was 20 years old, I had $100 in my pocket every week as a musician. Now, today, I talk to younger musicians, and they are struggling. Forget the pandemic stuff, but these musicians, they're struggling. They're just not. They have to beg these club owners to give them $200 a night, and they're selling beer for $7 a glass. So I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either. Yeah, Doug, you've been in the music world as a audio engineer. What's it been like for you?
I mean, it's one of those things. One of the things that Uwe has said is create songbooks, play gigs, and do workshops. That the ukulele base has been is pretty generous and likes to support their artists. But it is one of those things where it's there are a lot of times I am removed from all that. Somebody one time at a show said, well, I got this ticket for this much. I'm like, I haven't paid for a ticket to go and see a show in forever because I just show up for work. But
yeah, yeah, that's you get the different side though, that you are working though. You're part of the show, really.
Well, and Danny was talking about the idea that there are so many people that don't think that that bands and theater and production type gigs are real jobs, that that you're screwing around, so we shouldn't need to pay for that.
Yeah, where did they get? Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, I know. If they only knew how much time and effort you have to spend to, if you want to stick around, in order to perform well together. Mary Agnes, you're nodding your head. What is your thoughts and experience around this?
Well, I have two things to say, and one sounds like a plug, but it's not.
Go ahead.
So I'll start with that. I have been really impressed. My friend Phil Dolman, who is a UK-based British act,
Phil.
has really, really done well. Well, I say really, really, this is a pandemic, right? That's perhaps a sliding scale. But he's done well with Patreon and really creatively serving up kind of bite-sized bits of information to his Patreon audiences. Before the pandemic, I thought Patreon's a nice idea. I don't know how many people are using it. But for some artists in the pandemic, it has been a game changer in terms of people finding a way to help people pay them for their creative work. And I think that's really important. And so I wanted to say that because I realized I sometimes turn Patreon accounts on and off, but I love that OokTown is on Patreon. You know, I'm a supporter.
Yes, we love you for being a patron.
It's great, actually. If for nothing else than for the archives. Like if I miss something, I can go back and listen to it later. But also I feel that I'm supporting you. So even if I'm not able to buy the next big thing or contribute to the next big thing, I have a sense of kind of investing in you. And with musicians that I support, that's an important thing for me. I did my training in directing for stage and film. I've worked in the arts my whole life. I have been so upset at the narratives around the fine and performing arts and related kind of arts and humanities as this kind of like thing that we do for fun. It is absolutely work. And the other thing, that's the other thing I was going to say is in the pandemic, people have been filling their time with music, with films,
that's a
with
good
television.
Point. Yes. Yeah, think of
we
it.
We need to shout that. Like you are taking what we produce to fill your day and give your life meaning.
No, nice. That's a really excellent point. See, this is what we should take with us. That is spot on. That all of the stuff that these musicians and artists and producers and recording engineers gave us was this art, this music, this film, this whatever. You know, I have watched the Avengers I don't know how many times on streaming. Turned up to 11. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, can I say something else about that? So then with my producer hat on, and I don't just produce GNUF, so I work on other festivals. I work on the Hebden Bridge Film Festival. I'm the artistic director for a festival of ideas down in Brighton at our university. And in all of those things, I do that because I feel I'm not the best performer, and anybody who's seen my videos on YouTube knows that. But I love music. But my skill is producing. And I feel that I hope the pandemic has shown us that we as producers have just as much of a responsibility to continue to work to support people. So something we've done for GNUF is, like I said, we've continued putting on some of those projects like the GNUF in the Community, and we paid performers. So every performer who shows up in one of those virtual variety shows is paid. Everybody who showed up in our mini online GNUF was paid. And for the events that we've had to cancel, we had retainers that we paid the artists. That unless they refused, but we did really try to convince them not to refuse. I think that especially as we move through and come out of this pandemic, it is essential that producers or philanthropists or decision makers who are able to invest in the arts or to raise money to support the arts have got to understand that it's our responsibility as well, that we are in it together. And I think that's just as important, that we have to help people understand the value of what we contribute to society. And those of us who are able to help behind the scenes need to understand that behind the scenes work is just as important as somebody getting up on stage. And we owe it to the people who are brave enough to get up on stage to give our time and energy to get them there.
No, that's a really great point. There's so much behind the scenes that has to go on. I know I think I mentioned that I was a technical lead on a webinar that we helped to produce, and all the participants were going, wow, this is so smooth, so seamless, and behind the scenes you're white knuckle going, doing whack-a-mole, trying to fix all the problems, right, that they never see, and that's why they think it's so seamless. It's like, no, we were back there sweating bullets and trying to make sure that nothing crashed, and we kept muting people because it kept unmuting. It's like, come on, guys, what are you trying to do? Anyway, so yeah, producers, you're right.
Well, you're preaching to the choir because Danny is actually a costumer for The Lion King,
Oh, really?
And Uva, I know that he has done some stagehanding in the past as well. So yay to all the backstage folks.
Yay!
Oh,
Nice.
and one of the things, and I don't know that Danny even remembers this, but I was having a day where I was feeling just really bummed out as we were all strumming along singing Folsom County or something, and
Nice.
I said something about being bummed, and she said, soon we'll be back to stumbling around in the dark trying to fix everything and smelling dust again, and it really brought me up and really made me happy. So yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so this is first of all, shout out to my patrons out there. So thank you so much for supporting us. And I did want to give a heads up to the patrons out there. I forgot to hit the charge for this one. So this month there will be 2 podcasts that I'll be charged for. And I hope that's okay. Think of it as a Christmas gift to the OokTown Podcast, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much to the patrons. But yeah, Patreon is a great way for artists, and it hasn't gone away. I think this is just another one of those ways of doing it. And I think people are, people like Danielle Anderson, who just hustles and she always says she's lazy, but she hustles. She does all those things. I guess I wouldn't say she says she's lazy, but she claims she's I don't know, doesn't take credit enough for all the work she does to make sure she gets her business done and does it well. So yeah, that's all these revenue streams on Patreon. On I should get YouTube Super Chat going one of these days. Yeah, these are all good ways, alternate ways to make a living. I don't know how that's doing. So have you guys got a sense on, is this keeping people afloat? I mean, this is especially rough times right now. Like Phil Dolman, how did he do it? Is it?
Well, Phil is smart. Phil is a bit like Danielle. Like they both have their hands in a lot of pies. So Phil collaborates with people right across the folk and bluegrass scene. Phil teaches, and this is an actual plug. Phil Dolman's online lessons are exceptional. In the same way that you can always depend on Gerald if you need somebody to play lap steel or to just be a top-notch performer.
Exactly.
Like seriously, Phil Dolman's lessons are fantastic. He does so he does lessons and he does Patreon. He performs when he can. So he's quite versatile. And then he's been producing books and CDs as and when he can. And I think that in some ways, that's the thing that's been most interesting, is perhaps because everything else has slowed down during the pandemic. Phil has shown not just his ability to be resilient, which I think we've all had to in some ways, but his agility. And he's the same age as me. And I just look at him, I'm like, how do you move that fast?
Yeah.
How are you in so many places?
Well, Phil is also very good at collaborating with people. About a year ago, he contacted me and said, I want you to add a steel guitar part to one of my recordings. And I said, sure, great. And the next day I had the recording and I recorded my part, got it right back to him, and he used it immediately. He's very efficient with other people's time.
Yes, that is, it's interesting. That's a really good point, is collaboration. So people who collaborate well, I think do better. And maybe they need to do a study on this, but I agree. And Danielle is the same way. Danielle Anderson, I asked her to help collaborate on a Men in Black cover I did, and I sent her, the scratch tracks and the arrangement and the original. When she came in to record it, oh my God, she already had it down. I mean, she just nailed it. And, she was telling me, oh, here's this part coming up. And, I said, well, on the vocal, I want to thicken it up. And then she told me, no, I think what they did was they did an octave above. So why don't you just do I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. They just did an octave. I was like, so yeah, people like that, when they come in, they nail it, they're prepared, and they collaborate so well. I think that's a huge plus for them. Yeah.
It's like you're talking about professionals.
Exactly.
Who shouldn't be paid. They should give away everything for free. They should share their art with them.
But think about the exposure. That's
The
what.
Oh, yeah,
exposure, right?
There's going to be a
Wow.
lot of cool, important people at this party.
Yeah. All right. If those of you out there who are musicians have not heard, but it'll be good exposure for you. Oh my gosh. What's a good comeback for that?
You
Gerald,
could die from exposure.
oh, that's great. Nice. There you go, musicians. That is a great comeback because that is not.
That's not my line. That's the standard line.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Oh, that's been circulating for years.
Son of a gun. We should have been using that with Bookum Dano. I wish I knew that one. Chris, you're out there. Did we ever use that line? Because that is something that we should have. All right. Hey, let's get on to some fun stuff here because we've kind of milked this. And so thank you so much for everyone for this one. I want to do a little bit of British trivia and Ganuff in particular. First, though, I'm going to, for those of you who are in the States, I was listening to Kristen Wiig, who's starring in Wonder Woman, coming out Christmas time, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But she was in England filming, and she picked up some British slang. So Mary Agnes, you are exempt from this one because I'm assuming you know this already. All right, so let's see how well Gerald and Doug and I think Uwe and Danny are probably already know this too. So in British slang, an elevator is called what?
This.
Yeah,
Gerald.
Gerald,
lift.
go ahead. Ooh, correct.
That's also what you put in your shoes if you think you're too short.
Good one. Good one, Doug. The trunk of a car. These are two easy ones. Trunk of a car is called Doug.
The same thing you get in Denver if you don't pay your parking ticket, the boot.
Is it the boot? I thought it was well, let's go to Mary Agnes. Yes, did he get it? Okay.
It is the boot of the
Oh.
car.
Okay,
Now, I have to tell you, I've been cheating because the Ukulele Wednesdays, I've been taking an advanced course. Although
in British
most
slang,
and most of the things that Lorraine has taught me cannot
can't
be
mention on
repeated
that.
here.
Yeah.
She has taught me a lot of words, a lot of British words.
a lot of words.
Because she's so smart and such a legend.
Legendary. All right. Here's a difficult one. I didn't even know this one. I had never heard of it. A baby stroller is called
A buggy.
No.
Pram.
Yes. Doug.
Short
did
for
you-
perambulator.
Is that really why
A
how they
param-
got it?
Let me ask my British husband. Pram is short for perambulator?
Really? That's how they got it.
He's been
All right,
hiding there the whole time.
Yes.
Yes, but he can't hear us. He can only hear me.
All right, here's a
Rob Collins.
hey, Rob makes beautiful ukuleles. Here's another weird one. Eyeliner. Gerald.
Eyeliner.
Yeah.
It's called Melania.
No,
I would almost take that one, but no.
It's called Pram. Oh, wait a second. I'm one answer behind.
Yeah.
Danny, you have to help me out here.
What does Danny say?
No, she put down Pram. But
All right. It's called coal. I guess because it's black.
like
Is that
Koa?
right? Is it coal, as in a piece of coal? Is that right, Mary Agnes?
No, it's not. That's a rare one because that's not common anymore. That's kind of a generational thing, but it is called coal, kind of by like probably our age and older, and that's to do with KOHL. And I said H.
Oh.
Sorry. And that's a particular type of eyeliner, which is common among a lot of different cultures.
Oh, I thought then I was wrong on where that came. I thought Kohl's was a store here in. No, I'm just kidding. But is that right? I didn't know that. That's cool. All right, an eraser. What's that called? Gerald.
An attenuator.
No, that's my slider here on my board. Doug?
It's called an eraser. An eraser on a pencil is called
He's waiting.
wait, no, I'm getting to it. It's called
Too late. Too
waster.
late. A rubber.
It's called a rubber.
Or a rubber.
Yeah. So when people come over from England over here and they ask for a rubber, people give them a weird look. You got to go to the bathroom to get one of those. Anyway.
Well, it's funny because one of the songs that that my buddy from Australia has been singing, Jock from Australia, is the 12 Days of Christmas, or it's Christmas in the Summertime, or I don't remember the name of the song, but it talks about going out in your thongs, and I've every time he says that, I laugh, and he's like, "No, they're like flip flops." I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's right. Different thong. Okay, here's what's weird. I don't even know if this is true. What's an apple called in England?
Apple.
Yeah.
an iPad.
No, Apple.
You know what? And I forgot to write down the answer for some reason.
Let's go to Rob. Yes, move over to Rob there.
What's an apple called?
Is it called a palm?
An apple, he says.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Kristen Wiig was pulling my leg. What's a bicycle called? A
velocipede.
Yeah.
A
Velociraptor.
velocipede?
A velocipede.
No, a bicycle is a. Yeah, it's still a bicycle.
Okay.
Bike?
Maybe she's like
A push bike.
maybe she was talking about really esoteric stuff, because this seems esoteric. All right, so then what's the phrase for thank you but no thank you? And it was another weird one, and I'm looking this up. Wig.
Because once again, you didn't write it down.
I know I didn't write it down. I was too going, oh, that's so great. And then I said, I'll remember that. No, I'm not going to remember that. Anyway, what show is this?
Is it Ta Love But No?
Or just cheers?
Kristen Wiig, no.
And Uva has volunteered to do it with German words next time. So
Oh yeah, that would be great. Although I don't know if anyone knows German. Well, hold on. All right,
Uva knows German.
Yeah, that's what I. Never mind. All right, let's move on to. While I look this up, let's hand it over to Mary Agnes for a little while, where she can ask some trivia about. Give us some trivia about the Gnuff.
Okay, so like all good things, this one goes to 11. So I try to ask questions about people involved with the festival, or things that have been reported in international things like Ukulele magazine that people might know. Or so we at our festivals, at our second and our most recent festival, had two of the world's best.
Two of the
Best
world's
known-
best.
We lost the transatlantic cable.
Oh yeah, two of the world's best known ukulele acts played Gnuff. Who were they? UK's best known, world's best known.
So I'm guessing Jake.
Jake, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Great Britain's best known ukulele act.
George Formby.
Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain.
Oh,
I've heard of that.
obviously.
But they finally, when they played our festival, which was our second festival, they'd never played a ukulele festival. They'd played like Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
So people don't think of them as a ukulele act. They have since gone on to do a lot more ukulele performances as well. And George Hinchcliffe, the director of the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain, is a top human. If you ever get a chance to work with him, I highly recommend it. Just a nice guy. Okay, there's another American on Team Gnuff who helps organize it. She's not me. Who is she? She has blue hair.
Mim.
Yep. Mim. Okay, so one of the members of Team Gnuff holds the world record for marathon ukulele playing. Who's that? It's Robin Evans.
Oh, Robin Evans.
Yep. He holds the world record for marathon ukulele playing. He earned it at the Duke of Uke shop in London, and people came from all over Europe to come see his performance.
And how long was it? How long did he go?
Oh gosh, about 32 or 33 hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
Yes,
Was he
that was
allowed to take
amazing.
breaks?
I remember that.
Yeah. He wasn't. Well, yeah, you can take a loo break basically 6 times, and that's it. And you have to have clocks
Wow.
to show the time. It's really rigid, but he did it. I'm so proud of him. He was about 22 years old when he did it.
Wow.
Probably because I couldn't
remember
do
that.
it now.
I remember that year. I think we had you on the show, but yeah, that was amazing that someone could play that long.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you're a producer, people come to you and are like, I have this idea. And if you're in a good mood, you say yes. Okay, here's another question. This is an American one. This duo is sometimes referred to as America's Ukulele Sweethearts. They played their first ever festival as a duo at Gnuff.
Oh, Craig and
Is it the
Sarah.
Quiet American?
Craig and Sarah?
Craig and
No.
Sarah.
Steve and Edie.
All right.
No, it was Craig and Sarah. They both played individually at the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best ukulele festivals I've ever attended as a punter.
Wow.
And but it doesn't happen anymore, but it was fantastic. In fact, I saw Gerald there. It's great. He was great.
You saw me there. Where did
Yeah.
you see me?
I went to
Which
every
festival
single
was it?
ukulele festival of Great Britain in Cheltenham.
Oh, in Cheltenham, that one. You're right. Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was there. Yeah.
Yeah, you were great there.
Oh, thank you. That was a
But yes.
fun time. My wife and I were just talking about that festival this week, and how much fun it was.
Yeah, that was a great festival, and artists and audiences had a great time. I wish it was still around.
Is
Yeah.
that the Southern? Was that known as the Southern?
No, it was called the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain, and
Okay.
it went on for about 8 years just before Gnuff. We got started in their last year or two,
Hmm.
and it was in Cheltenham. And Sarah and Craig played there. I think Abe Lagramus played their last one, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
James Hill played once or twice there. And loads of the UK ukulele artists that you think of got their start there. Phil Dolman, Hedge Inspectors,
Hedge Inspectors,
Tristy,
yeah.
loads.
Oh, that was a really fun time. We all stayed at that hotel. All the performers stayed at this one hotel, and
Nice.
the group from Belgium that plays the old timey music from the 1920s. Their name is slipping me now. Who are they?
What are the Belgians that play music?
From
I'm
Belgium.
asking Rob. Oh gosh, I know who you're talking about.
I know the something.
No,
No, the Whining Boys. The Whining Boys.
Yes, the Whining Boys.
Oh man, and at every night at the hotel back after the festival, Frederick, the leader of the group, he brought out a 78 RPM player, and he brought out like a case of old Hawaiian and old ukulele recordings from the 1920s, and
Oh,
we
neat.
sat in the pub and just spin these 78s all night long. It was
Wow.
wonderful.
That is so cool. They probably had a lot of steel guitar in those old Hawaiian songs.
Oh
too.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you guys should check out some of Gerald's stuff. He does a wonderful steel guitar. Wow, awesome. Any other trivia?
Oh well, there's a few. One I gave you the answer to. How about I've got 2 more for you. So this is a 2-parter. There's 2 UK acts that have played every single Gnuff.
Whoa.
One was mentioned earlier in the show. He's a fantastic teacher and great at Patreon. The
Yeah.
other are known
Phil
as
Dolman!
jam leaders. Yeah, Phil Dolman. And the other are known as jam leaders. They were featured in Ukulele magazine. They're a husband-wife duo who are partial to hedges.
Oh, yeah. Hedge Inspectors, of
Hedge
course.
Inspectors.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, here's
I
the last
didn't
one. Oh, go on.
Okay, go ahead. No, I just didn't know that they had been to every one of the festivals. That's cool.
So there are about 5 UK ukulele acts who have been at every one of the festivals or all but one, and who have become a part of the festival, in order to keep doing it, because I can't do everything and my team can't do everything, we have created parts of the festival that are run by ukulele acts themselves. Those are Phil Dolman. He often helps us organize our workshops and leads strum-alongs.
Nice.
Tricity Vogue, she runs our late night cabaret.
Tricity, yeah.
She's great.
Her. Nice.
The Hedge Inspectors,
Yes.
they lead sing-alongs and jams where any instrument's welcome. Doesn't even have to be a ukulele. Although ukuleles are, of course, welcome.
Of course.
And Dead Man's Uke, which is Tim and Jake Smithies, the father-son duo. They lead our Friday nights in the pub, where they get pubs full of people who don't know anything about the ukulele, singing, dancing, and jamming along with people that are here for the festival.
Wow.
So it's a real community thing. And then there's one other, and this is the last trivia question. What Gnuff performer was the first ever person to graduate from Oxford University with a degree in music by performing on his ukulele, and also composed and performed a world debut at our festival, which was a piece for ukulele and string quartet?
Wow. Of course, it's Tiny Tim.
Nope.
Wow.
He's also
from
famous in
Oxford.
George Formby circles. Andy Eastwood.
Oh, yeah. He's been featured and he's been in Ukulele Magazine. Very cool.
Yeah. He
Nice.
he was the first ever person to get a degree in music from Oxford, and a first class degree as well, which basically means like an A+, like summa cum laude or whatever.
Wow.
By performing his piece of music, not on a piano, not on a violin. He was going to perform it on a violin, but on the ukulele, because he wanted that instrument to be taken seriously. He's been featured in factual broadcasts on the BBC specifically for that. And he's a
Wow.
really nice guy, Andy Eastwood.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's pretty cool. A ukulele player who knows how to read music.
Wow.
Well, and if you're interested in finding out more about Andy Eastwood, there's a link in the show notes to
There
his
will be.
website.
Thanks to Doug.
And
Wow.
a link to the MSN article about Kristen Wiig learning about British
Very
slang.
good, which
So,
a great segue. I will come back. I don't know if she's just pulling the leg. Anyway, she claimed an apple was known as a bambo blam. What?
No,
Really?
no.
Maybe she's just pulling her leg. Okay, and then thank you, but no thank you. She claims that phrase is, "Have you been to Pipperwilly?" Is that even a phrase? No. We're gonna have to talk to Kristen about this. Someone get Kristen on the show, please. Would you? Anyway,
we need to get Kristen Wiig on the show. We need to get Kristen Wiig on the show. There's the 3 times.
right. Then they
yeah.
come on the show. Right. Maybe she does play ukulele. We never know. All right. Okay. Since we're kind of come to the end of the show, first of all, thank you guys for being on the show. And thank you all to my patrons. If you're not a patron right now, consider becoming a patron of the OokTown Podcast by going to patreon.com/OokTown, OOKTOWN, or look in our show notes. There's a link there. I want to thank, we got one more thing we're going to talk about, and then, but I want to find out what's happening with you guys. Gerald, what have you been up to? Do you have a new CD out or anything? Let us know.
Let me think. Well, first of all, Stuart, I'm still kind of mad at you for what you said about the record label lately. So I just hold on here.
You're gonna put up a graphic or something of the
Hold on.
I noticed it's
Right.
very close to OokTown, so I don't know. Is there some trademark? There you go, OokTown. Yeah. See, it's
OokTown
very-
Records Artist of the Year.
And how many artists do you have on your label?
Oh, I can't even. I can't even count them on one hand.
So what's happening on the OokTown?
Well, not much. I've been doing a lot of recording at home since I've been stuck at home with this pandemic. I've been using the time to hone my recording skills.
Nice.
And it's I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and getting all different types of advice, but it's been kind of fun. And I've actually had the time to do this. In the past, I've had recording software for the last 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I would just kind of brute force my way through things. Yeah, turn this up to 10 or whatever. And now I actually have the time when a problem comes up or something I want to do comes up, I could actually research it and actually learn how to do these things. So I'm very happy about that. In terms of gigs, I have 2 potential gigs so far, live gigs for next summer. I don't know if they're going to happen or not, but people are pretty optimistic about it. And I also have some festivals that I want to go to as a attendee. And I don't know if those are going to happen either. So we'll see what happens over the next 9 months. But I've been using the time. What have I been doing? I've been recording, eating too much food, and sitting around,
Oh, but it's good to know that there are things being planned, and I hope they all happen for you, Gerald. And if you do come out with a new Uktone release, please let us know. Hey, Doug. Who do we got on the chat there? And looks like we had a new chat here from House of Uke.
Oh, House of Uke is me.
Wait, what? I thought you were Uke Skywalker.
I am Uke Skywalker, but I'm also House of Uke. So, yeah.
All right. So what's happening, Doug?
Well, we've got, the first thing that I need to tell everybody about is that here is a picture of Kristen Wiig with her ukulele. Can you guys see that?
No way. No, not yet. I don't think
Not yet. So select screen. Okay.
Do I need to do something?
My browser has blocked it.
What?
Anyway, there is a link in the show notes to a picture of Kristen Wiig playing the ukulele.
Nice.
So awesome.
All right, there you go. Maybe we'll get her on the show. You never know.
Yes, indeed. The so the big thing for me is coming up with 2. We're coming on to having 2 meetings a month for the Denver Ute community. That's awesome. I'm hosting the Jazz Ukulele ladies in Australia are taking some time off to do holiday stuff. So I am actually hosting a meeting down there, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh man, how late do you have to stay up to do that?
It's at 1:00 in the afternoon, so it's
really
8:00 here.
8 at night or 8 in the morning?
Yeah, 8 in the evening. So that's it
not
works
too
out.
bad.
The except when I do my heavy metal soloing, that causes problems. But and also Mackenzie Brown took her last high school final yesterday, so she is now a graduate, or we're hoping.
We're hoping.
So
all right,
we got all kinds of
be
things
optimistic.
changing around here. So
nice.
But yeah, everything's going really well.
Awesome. And the green background, that's great. So people may be wondering about the green background. Doug did not have a chance to fire up his plugin for the video. So we get the St. Patrick's Day background.
Because I was because my twin brother's ukulele group, the Santa Clarita Ukulele Monopoly, or
the Scum,
we were playing heavy metal, punk, and ska right up until the moment that I changed over to here. So it's been Sundays are busy for me now.
Well, yeah, I mean, now that you've taken up this gig at the bouncing around to basically every ukulele get together on the internet, I can imagine that keeps you busy.
Now see, you joke, but my friend Jock, the guy that I talked about from Australia before, like he's like, oh yeah, I went to one. He has introduced me to ones in New Jersey, and I go to one in Kentucky, and I mean, just he is everywhere. He is the ukulele internet ambassador.
That's
He's
another
awesome.
great thing about the pandemic here. It is encouraged people, I think, to join other groups because they go, "Oh, wait a minute, I can go anywhere. I can be with anyone." And since everyone's doing it online, it's so easy to join up. I think that's awesome. That is one of the things I think hopefully we'll take with us is that we'll continue these virtual ones so that we can, create a wider community. All right. Well, awesome, Doug. And how's the Denver ukulele community doing?
It's doing great. We actually just had our holiday meeting yesterday, and it was just super fun and super uplifting for everybody. And then that was another one where I did the Denver Ute community from 10 o'clock until 12:30, and then at 1 went and played for another 3 hours with the pandemic pluckers, and
Wow.
oh, and a fantastic Murder the Musical that was produced by my sister Danny, and she did a fantastic job.
All right. You go, Danny. And thanks
Hmm.
for joining us on the live stream. Yeah, well, that's awesome. And for those of you, you might want to check out YouTube because you can see Gerald Ross, all his roles at the Uktone record company, CEO,
Mhm.
stalker, not as in stalking, but as in STOCK. He stocks all the merchandise. I think you're also part of the mailroom too. Is that right? As part of
Oh, hold on.
distribution. Wait a minute. He's loading dock. Yes, part of loading.
So you're saying he's part of the mail room?
Whoa!
I'm hoping to get in the mail room.
All
It's got
right.
a couple more months.
All right. Let's jump over to Mary Agnes. So great to have you back. It sounds like you've been keeping busy at the university.
Oh my goodness. We're on our Christmas
Oh,
break now.
good.
It's 12 days without working. I have not had more than about 3 or 4 days off
Hmm.
since the pandemic started. It has been a challenge. The only way we've been able to do any GNUF related stuff is by members of our
Hmm.
team taking part and by our arts council and our local councils and other people investing a bit of money. So when nobody could do something, we could find somebody who needed work and pay them. It's been challenging, but also kind
Hmm.
of humbling and inspiring in equal parts. Um, so now we're at that point. This time, most years, we're just about sold out for
Yeah.
our festival. We had to cancel the festival last year when it was sold
Hmm.
out. And so thinking about our 2021 festival is a real challenge. But Huddersfield, where we hold the
Hmm.
festival, has a town council that is run by extraordinary people. There's a woman called Kath Winhaig who runs both the kind of music and community events, who is so creative in her thinking. And she's helped us connect to lots of venues and things in town. So I'm now starting to talk with my team, and I've got a really exciting meeting in January about what GNUF 2021 will be.
Hmm.
We're hopeful that with vaccines and also online possibilities, there will definitely be a festival. I,
Excellent.
I think it's going to be blended. So I think there'll be an online component and an in-person component. And that's going to be dependent on kind of how things evolve. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the really interesting question for us is, especially for that online component, how can we make that special? And how
Hmm.
can we build on what we're learning now in the pandemic to create something that feels a bit like GNUF, that maybe feels like what we are probably best known for, which is being in a town with other ukulele players and stumbling across a performer you might not have heard of, or meeting somebody you might not have met before, or just making a connection. And
Yeah.
so that's my free time that's not kind of like at the university. It's focused on that. Like, what is GNUF 2021 and how can
Very
it be
cool.
unique and how can it feel like you're
Hmm.
really connecting, even if you're not there in person? I'm quite excited about it. And the team is really excited. Our team GNUF is about a half a dozen people based here in the UK and in the USA. And every one of them has a different point of view, is a different age, from a different demographic, and uh, and brings just something special to these conversations. So I'm really excited to see how it kind of comes together.
Wow. Very cool. And this is one thing that I hope we can figure out how to incorporate is the blended part of an ukulele festival. If we can carry that forward, I think that would be wonderful. We kind of tried to do that once on the OokTown podcast. I think there's other ways that can do it that would really be fun.
But it was great that year that we did it, Doug. For people who don't know, got a number of the festival artists and a couple of the festival team together
That
in a
was fun.
room
Yeah.
during what was the dinner break between
Yes.
the afternoon and evening performances. And those artists did a live stream to the OokTown podcast. And to this day, it's one of those moments that everybody who was in the room, Victoria Vox, for example, the hedge inspectors, myself, Danielle, the sandwich, Danielle Anderson, we all talk about with this kind of like real fondness, because it felt like we were connecting to something bigger than us. So that idea of the good enough connection, and I'm so sorry to say this, Stuart, because this just means you're going to have some work to do with me in January. It's already on my list to talk to you about how we can build on what we've already done, because that was a kind of trial or a test or a proof of concept of the fact that I think OokTown has already nailed some of the ways that we can create a space where ukulele players around the world connect or feel
Awesome.
connected.
I'd love to participate in that. So yeah, we'll be talking. We'll be talking. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for being on the OokTown podcast. This has been a great show. And let's all keep our fingers crossed. Stay safe, everyone, please. Social distance, wear a mask, get your vaccine shot. It will help out. And hopefully if we all do that, we can get together again. That's what we really want. Everybody wants that, I think, no matter who you are. We all just want to get through this, get there safely to the other side. Okay, so as we do on all our shows on 3, let's all say aloha. And before I forget, thank you so much for the people in the chat. Love to have you. Let's get more people. I'll promote this more in the future. It's great to have you, Doug. I think I'm going to have you be the live chat monitor. You're doing a great job there. All right, so.
Well, I was a hall monitor in elementary
Wow,
school.
what a mistake.
So I've got
Who
lots
made
of
that
training.
mistake? Wow. All right, everyone, let's say aloha on 3. 1, 2, 3. Aloha. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Great show.
Yeah, that was great. That was really fun, Stuart.
Yeah.
I had my doubts about doing a video one, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's great. It's good.